Hi everyone, this is Jen. And today I have a beautiful guest, my beautiful friend Lydia Chang. She is also from Taiwan. And I'd love to introduce her, but let her just say hi to you guys first.
Hi everyone, I'm Lydia, and thank you, Jen, for inviting me. I'm so happy and excited to be here and to share with you my story.
Wow, okay. So we have a lot to talk about. And I
We
just
do.
just to let you know, like I feel extra fiery today because astrologically speaking, in the sky right now, the sun is in Leo. So Leo is a very fiery sign, and the moon is in Aries. So double fire. So I don't know about you if I
Okay.
can feel like a little bit fiery today.
Passion. Fire is
Passion,
passion.
passion. Yeah. So um, as you know, we've known each other since 2017. So that's a few years went by, right?
Yes, around the time I first moved from Toronto to Taiwan.
And I just feel like there's so much about you that I would love to share with everyone because you were, well, part of your journey started from Canada, right? And you were working as a CPA and an accountant, professional accountant. And then
Yes.
how did you really follow your heart, take that leap of faith, and come to where you are today, which is you are a yoga teacher, but not only that, right? You are a co-founder of your retreat center, Origin Yoga and Wellness, right? And then this is like
Yes.
I have always a lot of questions about people who are taking their leap of faith on their personal journey, and I would love for you to just speak a little bit more about why you decided to go for your passion and how did that all kick off. Okay.
Okay, yes, that's a long story, but I'll
I know.
try to keep it short. But yes, so basically, I grew up in Taiwan. I'm born in Taiwan. I'm Taiwanese,
Mm.
and later my family moved to Canada. So that's how I ended up in Canada. But before that, prior to that, the reason I got into yoga and meditation really started when I was about 10 years old. And as you know, Jen, because you've been to my retreats, you also met my whole family. But
Yeah.
my dad, he's a Zen master, and he's my first yoga and meditation teacher. So he's
Mm.
been trying to teach me all these spiritual ideas, mindfulness, yoga, meditation since I was very young. And I think that was when I was first introduced to it. And then later on, when I first learned about it, it wasn't really my thing. I didn't like it at all, to be honest. I thought it was for old people. I thought it was boring. I'm like, why do you have to wake me up 5 a.m. to watch the sunrise and meditate? Just didn't like it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until fast forward later, I went to Canada, I became an accountant, I started working, and all the pressure of
Oh.
work, the high stress life, the 12 hours work days, and it's just so intense. And I got to a point in my career that I just felt unhappy. And that's when I decided to go back to relearn yoga, relearn meditation. But even then, at that time, it was still very on the surface level. Like I
Mm.
was very much into more of the health and fitness aspects of yoga and meditation. So it wasn't until, and I have to think about this the year, and a few years later, my dad wanted to go to India to learn more about Ayurveda, and he needed a
Right.
translator because all the courses are in
Oh
English.
wow.
So
Mm-hmm.
he invited me to go along, and so that's when I was introduced to more the complete or more the spiritual side of yoga, meditation, and wellness. And yeah, that trip changed my life and my whole perspective on how I view my life. And after that trip coming back, I didn't quit my job right away because honestly, even though my job was stressful, but to be honest, I enjoyed it.
Mm.
I'm a competitive person in nature. I enjoy like being pushed and being challenged. So I really
Yeah.
did enjoy my work. But instead, what I did was I started sharing. I started sharing what I learned from India, combining it with my skill sets in finance and my knowledge there. And I started to teach yoga and mindfulness. I created a mindfulness at work program to share with my colleagues on how to find balance and ease while working in this high stress environment. So that's kind of how it all started. Since I started teaching at work, it just became very organic, like it's an organic growth. The program became very popular. I think soon I was devoting more time to the program than to my actual job. And soon like people knew me as the yoga girl, and they would say like namaste in meetings rather rather than rather than, they forget what I'm doing at work, really. They just think of me as the yoga person. So at a certain point, I felt almost bad for my managers and the CEOs and CFOs who really supported me to do this work, but I'm not able to devote my full attention to my actual job. So I decided to choose a path, and that's when I decided to choose yoga, left my job, came back to Taiwan, went back to my hometown in Baishawan, or is north of Taipei, and I converted my old house by the beach into a retreat center. So that's kind of the short version of the story.
Yeah, well, it's a really quick one, but I just feel you have a lot more to share about like how you actually felt propelled almost. How do you feel propelled to say, okay, you know what, today is the last day, no more. Rather than, because from your story, it's like, oh yeah, so I did this, I did that, and I become a yoga teacher. It's like really smooth for you, right? But is there a moment in that transition that made you feel like, damn, am I gonna do this? Like, am I gonna be able to trust this? Right? Is that a moment?
I think it's various moments I've thought about this idea of, choosing an unknown path. And it's very scary for me. So maybe that's why it took me a while and not just all of a sudden a moment I jump into it. It's more gradual. So it started in India. It made me question about what is my life purpose? Like, why am I so busy working? Like, what is the purpose? What's my why? And then later when I'm teaching yoga and mindfulness at work, that gratification and the connection and the intimacy that I was able to build with my colleagues through yoga really changed my perspective on, what brings meaning. Is it finance or is it teaching? So I think gradually it became very clear that what I enjoy doing more, not that I don't enjoy accounting, just more, is, yoga and mindfulness. So, but I think there really isn't like a turning point, except maybe, okay, this is a random story. It wasn't just pop into my head, but I remember I was at a bachelor party, one of my friends' bachelor party, and we were at a club, and I randomly bumped into a guy, and basically he told me how he left his job and he traveled the world for like a year or two, and I don't remember doing this because I was drinking a lot back then. But I don't remember doing this. But apparently I yelled at him because I'm like, how can you do this? This is so irresponsible of you, And my friend told me about it the day after. And then that really made me think, I'm like, wow, that's probably like my subconscious. Like maybe I'm holding on to the accounting part because I'm very much think this is a responsibility. This is what my parents want me to do. This is what society expects me to do. And I put in so much effort. I'm not able to let go. So I feel like that also, played a part of all these little things, like these turning points that really made me decide eventually to just do it. If not now, when?
Isn't it interesting because we're on this path together and we crossed, right? Back in 2017, right? But the way we left the industry is quite different. I was being kicked out by my year, as you know, it shut down on me. I mean, so I needed to have that inner reflection. And for you, like you're surrounded with the environment of, I would say, the Zen environment, because your dad he's already providing you those, Zen knowledge in a way, but you are coming back to a full circle and to say, yeah, wow, actually, I do want to honor this part of my life more, and something that came in right now is that, so when you came back to Taiwan, okay, because most part of your life you spent in Canada, and now when you're back to Taiwan, okay, there's some cultural shock, I believe. And then I know your dear brother, who's a chef, amazing chef, by the way, um, for the service that you are providing. You and him are both co-founders, right, in the business. Now he has spent most of his life in Taiwan. So you guys are kind of the flip mirror for each other. I would love for you to
Yes.
talk a little bit more about that. Would it be exciting to have a family member like joining you on a journey? But is there any like obstacles that you face that makes you wonder how to even do it?
Yeah, that's definitely an obstacle in the beginning. So, like you mentioned, my brother Edward, so we
Mhm.
didn't grow up together because my parents are separated. So, part of
Mhm.
the reason I moved to Canada with my mom is because of the
Yeah.
separation.
Okay.
So, yeah, definitely when I first moved back, it's been more than 20 years since I've been back to Taiwan. And with him as well, I maybe just see him at most once a year. So it's like we're strangers almost. I mean, we kept in touch, but not so much. And yes, you're right. So when I came back, it was a time when he was also in between job. So I invited him to do this together to restore our childhood home. And in the beginning, it was very different because our personalities are so different. And I think you were just mentioning
Yeah.
before this chat as well. I study Ayurveda, and in Ayurveda talks about different personality type. But my personality type is Vata Pitta, which means I'm very like fiery and very
Yeah.
passionate. And I have lots of ideas. I like to do things really quickly, and you can tell by the way I'm
Very
talking
common.
so quickly.
Yeah.
Whereas my brother he's a kapha person, so slow. He just, but not slow as in, he's just so grounded. He's so grounded. He's just so hard to really adapt to new changes. But he execute very well. He's a really good executor, and
Mm,
he likes to really drill deep on one thing.
mm,
Whereas I'm kind of like more all over the place. So definitely it takes some getting used to. We had to set ground rules. We used to fight a lot in the beginning. There's different vision, different ideas. But eventually we had to, sit down, write everything down, like have a contract almost, and follow it. So whoever breaks it, there's
wow.
a penalty. But it comes down to that. But ultimately, I think working with family can be difficult because you almost take them for granted. You make them work harder that you normally wouldn't with other employees. You demand so much more, and you know that they can take it because they're family. But at the same time, also there's a lot of trust. I know
Yes.
that no matter what happened, he's there for me, and I can trust him with everything. So I think, and that saves a lot of unnecessary stress or drama around that as well. So, and the fact that our personality are so different, and then almost in some terms complements each other. So I think
Mm.
that's why we're able to work for so many years together.
I can't say like I agree so much about what you say right here is that my sister and I we're also we're co-founders like in the business, and it's definitely with a lot of challenges for sure. But one thing that I realized like it's kind of like family is like a spiritual factory that can turn karma to dharma. Depends on how willing you are to put up with things, or how willing you are to transform it in a way. So throughout the years, like me and my sister, we butt heads a lot, like a lot, right? And to the point we always saying like, you know what, it was not gonna work out, let's quit this. Yeah, to that intensity was there. And but over and over again, we realized, the bond, the trust is there to be built. And like you said, family, there's that trust, and then when we are allowing ourselves to see the other person is only mirroring the sides that we're not ready to own it and look through the bullshit, we get to grow together. Yeah, I can't say more than enough. Like family is karma or dharma, up to our choice.
Yes, we have many discussion about this as well. It's like a
Mm,
mirror, right? So it's our homework.
yes,
It's our
yes.
homework in life.
And your dad, we just mentioned, like he's a Zen master. He studies Buddhist philosophy, Dharma philosophy, the Buddhist scripture for more than 30 years, I believe. And he
Mhm.
has so much impact on you as a person. Um, is there any, I'm just wondering, okay, because again, back to the family, right? This is business and this is family culture. And now you are merging these two together. And there is dad's expectation, if there is, about like how Lydia should be, or the way you show up in the world? Is there any expectation that you are also, kind of like dealing with from your dad's point of view?
Hmm. I actually think it's a little bit easier for me compared to most conservative Asian parents. He's quite liberal, and I think it comes from his study and his practice in Zen, Buddhism as well. So I think he's very liberal. So for the most part, he wants me just to be happy. Really, he always tells me not to be fooled by the materialistic world, not to pursue money. Look for what's
Yeah.
real, look for what's beyond the label, what's real, and to always look within and to slow down, focus on my breath. It's almost annoying, but it's it's just over and over again. He's almost like not just a father figure, he's also
Mm,
a mentor.
mm,
And I think, especially this last 5 years since I've been back to Taiwan, I feel like I bonded with him a lot more as well, because over the last 20 years, I hardly see him. So I definitely the last year, he's influenced my yoga, meditation, and spiritual practice a lot as well.
mm. You know what? It's something I admire you so much while I'm like looking at you, listening to your share. I was like, something I admire about Lydia so much is that your strength, your courage, and your determination. These three words just jumped out. And not to say like you have to come back to Taiwan, start from scratch, continue to believe what you believe, and then convert your childhood home into the yoga center, yoga retreat center. I want to hear more about this, or people want to hear more about how you go through your inner journey, because it's a journey. It's not only the outside, the renovation and everything, right?
Yeah, so the retreat center is quite special. You've visited a few times, so you know.
Yeah.
It's it's located in the best location because it's right by the ocean, just across the street. There's beautiful beaches, but at the same time, it's inside a complex that's very old, and in fact, it's actually been almost abandoned
Abandoned
for
complex.
40 years. So it looks very rustic and old on the outside.
Mm,
So it's not like a typical beautiful retreat center that people would imagine going to, because a lot of these yoga retreats now are held in like five-star hotels and all of that. So this is
yeah.
completely rustic. Inside is very comfortable, it's clean, it's been renovated and all that. And it took a lot of work to do that. But the outside is still, we can't do anything about it without the community support. And there was nobody at the time when I was starting. We were the only ones that came back. So it took a lot of, I guess, believe in this project and in this idea of
Mm,
creating retreat. And also at the same time, we were the first ones as well in northern Taiwan that's offering retreat. And there's only one other retreat center that I know of in the south.
okay.
So the concept of retreat is also very new locally. So it's really hard, number one, to educate people about what is retreat, and number two, to get them to come to a rustic looking building that's different from what they see in magazines or what they expect. So I think that was the first struggle that I had to overcome, and that was difficult. I remember the first guest when we first opened, the first guest I ever had was a lady from Singapore, and she came. She opened the door and she's like, "Are you kidding me?" And then she's like, "Is this real?" And then she almost wanted to leave. Like she was almost a little like angry, just from judging the outside, right?
Yeah.
But luckily, I had other guests who had arrived earlier, and that were friends, and they already stayed a few days, and they reassured her that the inside is so beautiful and the program is really great, the food's amazing, blah 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 blah. And then so she decided to stay. But a week later she left, and she was really happy. And even still today, she contacts me, and we're still in touch. So I think initially it was really hard to do. So all I could do is really just focus on delivering the best retreat possible, focus on the program, focus on the food, focus on creating that experience. And then slowly, really, we grew organically. I didn't spend too much, luckily not too much on advertising and marketing.
Mm,
We grew organically,
yeah.
all through mostly word of mouth and customer and client reviews.
I just have to say, like your place, I find it fascinating is because outside and inside is completely different stories, right? Outside abandoned complex, right? But inside is like completely beauty, right? And then it's like it is a philosophy of, not look, not judge the book by the outside. And I would just have to say, Edward has done an amazing, amazing job for all of the beautiful food preparations, and all of the interiors is gorgeous, gorgeous. And one thing that I feel like I want to touch upon is also because your strain, um, what I see in you is because the pandemic, it, as you know, it's hitting Taiwan, and then the social distancing was being promoted. And how did you gear through that wave till today? Like, okay, now this is what I do. Now I can refocus.
I think I'm still riding the wave. I don't even know what's going to happen. Nobody knows, right? I think this lasts for everyone, not just for myself, but for everyone. It's been a huge challenge. And, for me, I still remember, just before COVID happened or started happening in Taiwan, it was around the time of Chinese New Year, just right before Chinese New Year. And I remember that last retreat I had before, people started becoming worried and not wanting to travel was an amazing one. It was one of the best ones. We had guests from 10 different countries, like all sitting around the table. It was full house. It was during Christmas holidays and Chinese New Year. So it was just a lot of people are coming. And I had the best retreat, and I was very optimistic, thinking like, okay, this is going to be our year. We were in the prospect of looking for a second location because we were doing very well.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, COVID hit, and international travel was banned. And at the time, like 90% of our guests are from outside of Taiwan, so nobody could come. All that refund requests, cash flow drain, and it was just very hard initially. So I had to be very, I had to quickly become creative, think about like, what can I do? So that's when I started to shift focus towards the local market, towards corporate. And then I started offering, more emphasis on corporate yoga, corporate mindfulness, local, maybe shorter programs or outdoor programs so people feel safer when they come. So just becoming really creative to offer. And now Taiwan was really lucky for a whole year. We're pretty much, even though international travel is banned, tourism is suffering, but for a whole year we were good. We had no cases, and locally the economy was doing well. So thankfully I was able to survive, not prosper, but survive the last year. But then earlier this year, cases in Taiwan went all the way up, and now it's slowly coming back down. But that's when we really had to shut down. So even now I'm closed because I can't reopen yet because indoor dining is still not allowed. So I'm still closed. It's been almost 3 months now, and I'm focusing on online retreats and doing what I can. But it's really hard. I had to let people go in the meantime, and I had to make a lot of adjustments. But gotta do what you gotta do and keep going.
So that's part of the strength I see in you. It's like the adaptability and flexibility, and it doesn't matter how long this whole thing's gonna last, but I see that it's like a diamond, right? Like you need pressure, to see the spark really shining out. And I just feel inspired every time when I see you, like, posting certain things that you are doing collaboration with people. You're really, really like go out of your way to save almost, save your dream, and that is super inspiring and empowering. So one thing I would love you to inspire, is if there are people, women especially, out there are pursuing their dreams or they are meeting difficulties, they want to quit. What would you say to them?
I think it has to go back to, being very clear about your why and what you want, and knowing that. And I've before all this, you read books on like law of attraction and affirmations, and you're like, oh, those are whatever, right? They don't work, but they actually do work. And I really do think just by taking good care of yourself, being very clear on what you want, things do happen, and people will come to help you. So, and I've lived through that multiple times. There's so many examples when I'm almost ready to quit, and then something happens, and then I change my mind. So I just think for those women out there who are trying to realize their dream and it's becoming very difficult, to just don't give up, just to stay focused, and the time will come. And there's always a way. There's always a way to go forward. Maybe it's something that you don't think about it right now. And that's why I think a practice of yoga and meditation is really important, because that's when I am able to kind of go outside of my limited mindset, and I draw a lot of inspiration from my practice. So I think it's that too. Taking good care of yourself so that you're in a good place to attract the right people, attract the right resources, and being able to receive inspiration to help you keep going.
You hear that?
So yes.
So really, like, we are all manifestors every moment, pretty much, right? It's just that, what kind of vibration, what kind of frequency we're tapped into in order to co-create with what we are being given in that moment. And thank you so much for being who you are. You're so, I won't say strong, but you are literally hard as diamond. Heart as a diamond. And then I want you to really continue to shine, because so many people need your inspiration to continue to do their work by seeing you believing in your dreams. One last thing I would love for you to touch upon is your Ayurveda. Your Ayurveda is an ancient science since 5,000 years ago, right? And how do you combine that concept to your yoga practice, and together you're offering to your beloveds, that will support their health, support their mind, soul, and in any sense.
Okay, so I first learned about Ayurveda, which is the world's oldest holistic system, because of my dad. He wanted to go learn from a doctor in India, and I went there as a translator because I had no idea what Ayurveda was. But since then, I really fell in love with it. The concept just resonated with me. It's very intuitive, and I find that it's easy to incorporate. It helped me really personalize my yoga practice. And then years later forward, actually, I didn't mention this. Oh, I probably did mention only to my close friends, Oni and Jen, as well. But I actually got sick in this journey. So about last year, I had these mysterious rashes on my body, and my eyes was poofy, and then my heart was beating really fast. And at first, the doctor said it was allergies, but later on, I was diagnosed with hyperthyroid, and and actually, this is the first time I say it publicly out loud. So it's been very scary for me, because initially it was just dealt with so much shame and guilt. Like, how can I get sick? I'm teaching people to be healthy. But regardless, I think it was a wake-up call, because I've been really pushing myself to strive to stay strong. And last year during COVID and some family issues, it was a lot. So perhaps that's why I got sick. But that's when I again turned back to yoga and Ayurveda, and I knew that there was things that I can do to help myself, to heal myself. And that's when I started to dive deeper into Ayurveda, and I worked with a doctor as well to help me, because I refused to take medicine. I was told I should really, but I knew I wanted to give it a try the natural way before I resort to medicine. So I wanted to try Ayurveda. I work with an Ayurveda doctor with herbs, with detox method. I changed my diet, my daily routine, my yoga, and my meditation practice. And within 6 months, all my symptoms, 95% is gone.
Wow.
And the numbers are down. My blood results are very good compared to before. So it's a drastic improvement. So something that would have taken, I think, 2 years to heal. I'm still healing right now, but at least within 6 months, and now it's almost a year now, and now it's so much better. At least I can function. And so I think that's when I really got into Ayurveda, and I started to I created a detox program offering what I know as well to help others. So that's what I have now. I have a online Ayurveda detox and renewal retreats that in the retreat I share my journey as well, and I share ways to take care of ourselves, to eat better, to detox, and to relax. And we all need this.
Back in 2019, I remember you gave me a report same as you, Pita, Vata, Vata, Pita type, right?
Yes.
And the constitution all beautifully laid out. And I was practicing at the beginning, and then I didn't stick to it. But then I'm sure that, you know, there's a lot of good benefit. I feel I'm motivated to restart again. So
Yes, you should. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
So everyone, if you're interested in knowing more about Ayurveda, Lydia is a person to go. And you wanted to sign up to, do you have a newsletter to help people to understand more about the Ayurveda offering that you're providing?
Yes, so you guys can come to my website, so
Yeah.
www.originyogawellness.com. You can sign up for newsletter, and all the information's on the website as well.
Yummy. Yeah, so guys, this is beautiful, Lydia, and thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. Thank you so much for being that beautiful diamond. That's all I wanted to describe you with. Beautiful diamond.
And thank you, Jen. It was law of attraction that we've met. Feel like we're so similar in so many ways, and I'm so grateful to have you as a friend and also a mentor to be with me throughout this whole journey. It really helps.
Now you're going to be my Ayurveda mentor too. All right. Thank you, Lydia. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.